Hi everyone. Hopefully you got the Facebook note that we're doing a Wednesday night edition. So I'm just going to be kind of moving things around. Turning some lights on. Oh, it's been one of those days. Let me see. So does anybody know, did it reach like 90 today? All I know is when I left at 4 o'clock, it was like you went outside from the air conditioning to like the outside. It was like a wall of heat. Insane. Okay, let me see if I can find my little light. I'll get my light on. So who knows? This might be the new Wednesday Wing It. Might do the... Let's see if I turn my light on, or... I have so many different cords over here. For my Zoom, for my camera. That was my Zoom. So we might hear Sadie barking or snoring. So how's the light? Oh, I see Kim is on. Kim's never on during the day, probably because she's working. Yeah, it's an awful long day. And then at 8:30, I have my 3-hour Zoom. So we'll see. Last week, I was so exhausted, I fell asleep probably an hour into our Zoom meeting. It might be the same thing for tonight. But I had a glass of Pepsi, so... So anyways, I'm just going to recap a little bit from last Wednesday. And last Wednesday, when I was signing off, I was talking to somebody at the same time, and I grabbed my phone, and there's a little button that I'm supposed to hit before I sign off that says share. Well, when I hit my hand on the phone, I wasn't paying attention, and the share button went. So, unfortunately, it didn't save it and it didn't record it. And so, if you were one of the lucky ones to watch it live, there was a lot of information. And I did get I got several like emails and texts like, what happened? And I couldn't find it. It may come back, who knows? I said the FBI finds things. How come I couldn't figure it out? So anyways, we may eventually have that on our YouTube channel. But until then, let me just go through some of the things that I did and the things that I showed. And we had a big release in from Spellbinders. And so I won't spend a lot of time on it, but there's a lot of new dies. This is this cute little bird, the little chickadee bird that you can add onto your cards and such. I love birds. Birds and gnomes and gardens and, clocks and cameras. Here is another little bird. One is facing left and one is facing right. This is the sweet little birdie. Those are new dies. We've had a couple of these in, and as soon as they come in, they go out. We finally got the Artful Tulip, which is this really cool paintbrush. And in here, in this particular one, there are some stems and tulips that you can add to create a really cool card. And I'm putting together another Spellbinder order, and a couple of the other paintbrushes are available. And we'll probably do a Facebook Live with a lot of samples showing you those once they all kind of come in stock. There is a new alphabet set from Spellbinders, and it is a stitching alphabet, but it doesn't have to be stitched. And eventually we'll get some samples, but you can see there's little decorative features which you can use for your threads and do some stitching. You can also do little gems in those little spots, or gems in the center, and just leave the other little holes just open, which make a really super cute card. If you want to order the alphabet, we are doing 20% off the entire alphabet. And I think the list price is $149.99. So they're on back order. We're waiting for a new shipment to arrive at Spellbinders, but we will be getting them in. So if that's something that you think you would like, just give us a call. Yes, Kim loves the stitching, so we'll get a sample and a post for that. The Wednesday, yeah, who knows where it is. I mean, I actually had one of the girls from my group that I'm in on Wednesday night try to help me, and I think because I didn't even save it initially, that it's gone. It's gone in the cloud somewhere, and who knows how to get anything out of the cloud. It was Spellbinder's birthday, and I had a whole birthday release. So there's some stamp sets. There is, and I didn't grab it, there is a whole foil plate with these candles, a really big one. Looks very cool. This box, this we will be showing often because it's the cutest little 3D box. And I mean, here they used it for balloons. Balloons can come out of it, but just think of all the things that you can actually come out of this little 3D box. So we got a lot of these in. And if you look at this particular stamp set right here, down at the bottom, you can see they're kind of weird looking, just this way, but they're made to be stamped on the sides of these boxes. So that's why they are angled. And I had the opportunity to see some of the upcoming Spellbinders Christmas. You're going to want the box. And they have more sentiments and more things that will jump out of this box for the holiday. So, and this is one of those basic kind of dies that I think you can use all the time. Love, love, love this wonky birthday cake. And it's called the Topsy Turvy Cake. And look at it's huge. So it would make a great slimline card. And how fun would that be? You know, it's like all these different colored papers and things that you can do with it. I mean, just endless. Very, very cool. Very different die. Some of the other things that they have this whole pie collection. And these are this one is for these particular ones. You can see you have the lattice and you have the different design tops of these pies. And since fruit season is coming in, this is like a perfect time. And here's some nice little sentiments that you'll see in one of the birthday sets that you can use. And this is a slice of pie. And this is the silverware and the platter and things that you can put on to your pie. So those are the things that kind of came in from Spellbinders that I showed. Another product, and they're in the store, and I didn't want to carry it because it's a big heavy box. There is a new Universal Platinum base die for it's for the platinum, but it's your base die pieces for your die cutting machine. It works in the platinum. It works in the Big Shot. Any of your machines, it's made to be used as in those systems. And the nice thing for the people that have the platinum, there was always an issue of getting embossing folders to work. You just had to come up with some wonky recipes on your own. And now this solves that whole issue with those. So there's different plates that you put together to create the perfect shim when you're doing regular embossing folders, 3D embossing folders, so on and so forth. And it was designed for the platinum, but it was also designed in mind to work with all die cutting machines. So we have those in stock. We did get a couple new things in this week. We have a bigger box coming in the next day or two, but these were just a couple items that came in today, and I love this. It's the ginkgo leaf and these little background leaves. Perfect for sympathy cards, but I think the ginkgo leaf is really kind of cool. And this is from Find a Trading. And once again, their dies have really great price points. And I don't think there's a particular name for this. Just called Various Branches. This very cool die, the Shabby Chic Rustic Honeycomb die. We had a couple in. We're getting more in my next shipment. And you can see it's kind of like a distressed honeycomb pattern. Like there's little broken open areas. Very cool. So you can use this as a die cut. And I'd also, remind you that with your tan mat, you can emboss. So if you want like an embossed background, you'll be able to use that and get that kind of honeycomb texture. We had a customer recommend these, and so we got them in. These are the waffle flower foam strips. We have the 1/8 inch thick, and you get 2 sheets in each package. Every night about this time, we get the gentleman, Mr. Spam Risk, trying to call us and speak to us. He keeps calling back every time, a little after 7 every day. This is the 1/8, and you get 3 sheets in this one too. And you can see that there's various thicknesses and various lengths, which is really kind of cool. So, Janine, we got them in. Another fun die from Waffle Flower is this lacy circle. So you can see that you have the very large outside circle with the stitching, and then you have the scallop with the little pin dots, the solid again with the stitching, and the scallop with the pin dot just keeps reversing back and forth. There was one other new die. It kind of is an arc from Waffle Flower. I thought I grabbed it, but apparently it's probably still in my bag downstairs or on the table at the store. The Simple Stories Into the Wild. I just thought these were fun. I don't think we got a lot of the papers, but I just thought for people doing scrapbooking or little mini books or something, these had a lot of little fun icons and images with animals. So if you go to the zoo, you can make a little photo album book and just add these little icons in there. I thought these were super sweet. So these came in. Robin, which size do you want? We have the 1/8 and the 1/16 and 1/8 inch. So one's thinner and one's thicker. So let me know what size you want, and we'll put those away for you. Also a reminder, this Saturday, it's the tag team duo. Mona and I are doing Facebook Live with our interpretation of a product. So completely different views on something. So it'll be fun to see what she comes up with. I love what she does, and we'll see what I come up with. This is one of the things that I showed on Wednesday, and I thought was really kind of cool. Robin and Linda got it. Let me write a note over here. Just writing a note so that I remember to put those foam tapes on the side for you. Okay. This was a new release from Pink Fresh, and it is called the Painted Daisies. So in this collection, you get the rubber stamp, you got the matching coordinating die, and there is a stencil set. And this is a 5-piece stencil. And so on my first card, I kind of did it monochromatic. I used my inks and my stencils, and I use a wood grain frame die from Hero Arts as my background, and I did add a little bit of Wink of Stella to it. And this was all done with just the stencils and my inks, and then I used my little brushes from Tailored Expressions in inking this. And what I did a little different on this, I kind of went back and I added brown into the leaves and tried to make it a little bit a little bit more vintage looking. And so that's what I came up with. And then I did one with Copic markers. This one was done with Copic markers. So once again, the colors are, I chose brighter, more vivid colors. And this one I actually did with the ink pads again and stenciling. And what I showed you on that day that is lost somewhere, after I colored everything, I heat set it really good. I didn't have to do the Copics so much. I didn't have to heat set that because that does not get affected with anything wet going on it. But I heat set my ink pads. I went back and I used my Wow embossing ink pad, which I love. Super, super wet, very slow drying pad. And I used my clear embossing powder. And I went and I inked everything. I did have it die cut ahead of time, so it was die cut. You probably could go back after you die cut it, or if you didn't die cut it, you can go back and do this technique if you wanted to. But I was afraid that if I had done the embossing and tried to die cut it, it might crack. So anyways, I went back and I inked it all up, put my embossing powder on, and heated it. And if you can see very closely, it has the sheen to it and has a texture on it. And it's a little bit pebbly because that's what happens when you put one coat on. But you can go back and put a second coat of ink. And every coat that you put on afterwards becomes a little bit smoother. But I kind of like the look of this little pebbly kind of finish to it. On this one, I did do the first coat in the clear, but then I was talking to everybody and I said, oh, I wonder what would like it if I went back and put sparkle embossing powder on, which is basically clear with bits of glitter in it. And so on this one, I don't know if you could see that it has the glitter kind of embedded in there. The other thing you can't really notice maybe so much when I'm showing you here, but you'll be able to see it in person. This had two coats. So it had the first coat of just clear, then I decided to try to find some sparkle, and I put a second coat. So with that second layer, it becomes even more smooth. Yeah, sparkle's always appropriate. So I'm going to kind of show you that technique over here. This was been on my, I want to do someday, like Father's Day is coming, so let's do it now. This is a die cut from Penny Black. And I did 3 layers and I glued them together. I stacked it. And then I used my brushes and I used my little blending ink pad, and I just used various greens and browns. And I will say when I went to go ink this, I would put a piece of paper underneath to get the deer really good. Kind of went over here, got the stems, put my small little brush and got, the branches over there. But I didn't really, to me, it didn't really matter if I went, and the colors kind of merged together. It's all good. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to emboss this. So I have my clear powder. I have my coffee filter. And let me grab a piece of scrap paper. Wow Embossing Powder and Hero are kind of like two of my favorite embossing pads. So, excuse me, I'm going to go ahead and emboss. I don't know if you can see, there's tiny, it kind of has a tiny little pebble look to it, which, especially with something of nature, I really kind of like that little bit of texture look. But what I want to show you is if I go in, do another coat. I don't know if you can see, it's definitely much smoother, almost like glass. The more coats that you do, I don't know if you can see that. It's really getting like very smooth. So it's definitely like almost like a varnish kind of laminated look on it. So we'll do one more coat. Just gonna rotate it. Can you see that? It's almost like liquid, so we always get people coming in like, there's never any like stuff from Masculine. We actually have a lot of Masculine in the store. Any of these kind of nature things, I always kind of think of as guys. So look at that. Look how cool that is. And what I did is I grabbed one of my favorite embossing folders from Tailored Expressions. It's called Weathered, and it just this kind of texture. And what I love about it is, I mean, it's kind of like neutral. So I use it on my vintage cards. And look at, even on this side looks good. Let's see, what side do I want to use? This is the side that normally you would use. I think I'm going to switch it. I think I'm going to do it this way. You can go and you can add a little ink to it. Just using a little craft as a mat. Let's see. My little foam pieces. garbage. And when I put my foam on, this is kind of typically what I'll do. I'll do each corner. This is the longer side, so I put one in the middle, and I kind of put one, a third of the way down and a third way up. And that way I have support in the center. And this is dry already, so. And then I grabbed, this is a Happy Father's Day border die from Lawn Fun. And, everybody sees this and they're like, oh, I don't want it that long. Well, oh shoot, I missed the little part. Let's see. I'll go back and cut that. But don't be afraid to cut it. And I don't like a lot of those little long little scripty things. I have another piece of old dichotic. There you go. So that's what I had envisioned with this card. You could go, I tend to be kind of clean and simple, but you could add a little brown distress ink maybe around the edge. That can tone down the white, but I kind of personally like the white, but that's, everybody's personal touch. You can do whatever you want with that. The other thing, you could actually go, don't forget, you can do your words too. And usually if it's hot enough, you can go back in. See, it's still hot. It picked up more powder without having to ink it again. So what I might do is go back and actually finish that. So you can see the two P's and the Y are definitely darker and glossy because they have 2 coats of embossing powder on there. So another great use for your embossing powder. And I think, I have to believe that one of the first things, I've been doing this for a really long time. It seems like a really long time, like over 30 years. And what got me, I think, into stamping, for me, it was the images. They're beautiful images that I could never draw, but, I could envision, and, and I can use those images, and I can color, and I can create and do beautiful things with them. But when I got into the business, and I think the thing that most people got turned on to stamping is when, especially in the beginning, was showing them how to do embossing. I mean, especially when you emboss something in gold, oh my God, that was like magic. People were like, oh my gosh, I can do that. So we all started out embossing, and then, Paula, this is Lawn Fun, or no, wait, this one is Penny Black. So we all started out doing embossing, but then there's so many other exciting things, out there. There's stencils, and there's paints, and there's die cutting, and blah, there's all this other stuff. And sometimes we need to circle back and go back to the basic things. And I know probably some of you have this embossing powder in your little stash. And it might be old, but believe it or not, for those of you who have been around for a long time, how many people remember Personal Stamp Exchange, that company? I'll wait to see how many people recognize that name or are familiar with it. I'm going to go grab a couple of my stamps. I have a shelf of stamps, and they're my favorite wooden stamps. And I'll show you what Personal Stamp Exchange. Okay, this is actually my very, very first stamp I ever owned. And this what made me like love rubber stamping and try to find more of this style. I absolutely love this. So this was my, and it still is, it's my very first and probably my most loved rubber stamp. And here's a couple others from Personal Stamp Exchange, and they're the company was called PSX, and they were in Petaluma, California. And this was another one of my favorites, probably my second stamp. And in its day, this was the favorite Christmas stamp. A lot of you might even own this one. This stamp probably was my best-selling stamp ever in my store career. And I still have it. So anyways, going back, because embossing, this was beautiful, done in golden powder. So when you do it with gold, it was beautiful. And I still love wood stamps. Oh, okay. So let's see. Anybody have any questions? 7:30. I have a little time to show you something else. I have my meeting at 8:30 on Zoom. Oh, here is it. I keep forgetting. This has been on the table, and I'm like, I'm going to bring it tonight. This is a little kind of small tool storage pouch that we got in from Sizzix, and I think it's a Tim Holtzel product. So this is kind of a nice little storage. So for coming to class, or if you're going away for the weekend or whatever, you want to grab a few things. It's just a nice little pouch to keep all those little pieces in. So we have this in the store. So now I can put it on the shelf that I finally remembered to show you all. Yeah, the painted daisies, the stamp, the stencil, and the die. Got it. Okay. Oh, I think that embossing gun heated up my room. So I did a class recently, and I saw that Heidi is on, and she took the class. I know she took the class, and it was the Hero Arts, the Looking Glass dies. And these are the Looking Glass dies. There's a whole series of them. And when I first did a class, I like the project that we did, and I thought, but they're kind of cool. Like, what, let me think of a different way to use them, and so on and so forth. And so I just want to go through and show you another card and how we kind of put these cards together. And Heidi, I do have your bird die in. That one came in. So anyways, the dies, if you look, there's 3 in each pack. And here's another. I grabbed this one because I thought this one would be great for Father's Day. See, there's like a little grass in the background. And then you have, actually, it's like this mountain kind of scene in the back, and then the tree in the front. That'd be another really good masculine one. But when I was pulling everything out, I couldn't find it until right now. So anyways, what I did with these, I cut all my papers to 2.5 by 2.5. And let me just do this one real quick. say this is 2.5 by 2.5. It's not, but we'll just pretend. I did, if I was doing these in colors, I grabbed my 3 colors and I centered my die in that square. Let me just scoot and go cut this. Let's see. If you wanted your frame bigger, you can do 2 3/4, 3 3, whatever. So I centered this and I taped it down and I die cut them. And each layer you can do different colors of paper. On some of the cards we actually colored. And then you just die cut them. And this is the one that I'm going to show you right now. So they were cut 2.5 by 2.5, and I have the 3 layers. I have the back, I have the center, and I have the front. And this one I didn't center quite, but you know what? It's all good. Doesn't really matter. I mean, at least to me. So I have my papers. And when I designed the class, I actually went through like multiple color combinations to get the right color combination before I put one of the cards together. And so here's my base. And then, so you have your background piece. You have your next layer. And you have the layer that goes on top. So you can see that you have, by using different papers, that creates depth and interest. You can leave it like that. You can pop some of them, a few of them, you know, that's up to you. And then I have a little sentiment die that I cut out. And this is one I probably should have put wax paper. I think this is a very loved and older die, so sometimes they stick and they're a little bit harder to get out. So we have some holiday ones. So I'm going to do a holiday class, and we're going to have a couple other new takes on using these. This broke, but that's okay. Having issues with my sentiments tonight. Yeah, if you find that some of your dies definitely stick, I'll either take a dryer sheet and rub over them, or I have it's pretty much like wax paper, and put that between, and that helps the paper release from the die. Yep, Heidi, I'm hoping that we're going to do a Christmas in July with the other Looking Glass Windows. I was kind of hoping that there might be like a new release that we can include. So that's kind of a very rough kind of look on how the windows can come out. So that is one of the samples. I brought some of the cards. This one is like one of my, I don't know, each one I really loved. I love this one because here's another great masculine card. You can put Happy Father's Day on there. You could put Happy Birthday, thinking of you. Just a nice general sentiment, or just give the card and put a sweet little note in there. But I think it's a great masculine card. And that one was the Looking Glass, called the Lighthouse. They have a fun birthday one, and we use just, confetti background paper, and I use primary colors on this. And you can see the dies. It's called the Birthday Party. And even the cutting goes really super fast because, I put the 3 dies on one plate and it's like one cut. And the other cool thing is that you need a piece of paper 2 by 2.5 by 2.5. So you probably can go in your scrap drawer and make a zillion cards just from scraps in one of these sets. And one of the other really super popular one was the sunflower and butterflies, and this one we colored. And in addition to their, here's the bee and the butterfly, or the bee and the sunflower. They have these various frames that on this particular card, we added one of the Looking Glass frames on here. And they also have the circle and square frame. And that frame, the square frame, was used on this card. Yet, right over here, there's no frame. So you can put a frame on. You don't have to put a frame. Each time you do it, you can have a completely different look. There are several others that are in the store, but kind of a fun, simple, easy one. I wanted to do this one. This is the one I wanted to do tonight, so I'll probably finish it and make a little sample so you'll see that one. And I will fix this up, and I will post those two along with this card once I finish it. I'll put those up, the finished designs. So anybody have any questions? Yeah, this one, I mean, it's like a girlfriend's, it's sending love, it's just a really cute, one. So you can use it for a lot of different interpretations. So did you guys like the Wednesday night? I have to tell you, I had a Graphic 45 class this morning. We start early. We start at 10:30. And so usually 2 hours is enough time. And sometimes if it lasts a little bit longer. But we had a couple new ladies, and I knew we were not going to get done in time. So that's why I posted, and I was thinking, should I do it on Thursday at 1 o'clock? Or should I try, this evening? And because I don't know what my plans are for tomorrow, I decided to do it this evening. So I appreciate that you guys joined me. So that was really a nice surprise. So maybe we'll have a periodic Wednesday, Wing It Wednesday. And I think it's actually 7 o'clock is actually a good time, because I think most people are maybe done with dinner, and kind of just sitting down relaxing. So so stay tuned. Maybe I'll switch the Wednesday to the evening, at least for the summer, and we'll go from there. Oh, speaking of summer, what I have decided is that starting in July and August on Saturdays, we're going to close the store at 3 o'clock. Normally we're open till 4. We're going to close an hour early just on Saturdays, because basically it's, if anybody's there, it's Mark and I that are working. And, the summer is too short, and I want to be able to enjoy a little bit of it. So starting in July, only on Saturdays. We're going to close at 3, but it seemed like a good time anyways, because from 3 to 4, very few people came in. So, and if it's really important to you, just scoot out early in the morning on Saturday, because we will definitely be there. The other thing, we have our garage sale, Cindy. I know you asked about the garage sale, so we're taking sign-ups for the garage sale, so you can pop in the store and sign up for that. The garage sale is Sunday, June 26th, so it's in a couple weeks, and so it is open to the public. It starts at 10 a.m., gets done at 1 o'clock, and we ask everybody, it's cash and carry, and bring your own bags. We don't supply bags, and it'll be out on the sidewalk along our store, and we do have part of an empty storefront that we're going to be using also. And I think that's it. The garage sale is important for you guys to know about. Maker Mania Friday, another little sneak peek is coming out on the Crafters Home website, which I will then share on our Facebook page. So, if you're interested in the Maker Mania, we now know it's Sizzix in 49th and Market, and they'll be sharing little sneak peeks of some of the products that you'll be getting in your kit. And my mind is already moving, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? So I have one of my projects in mind, and so I have 2 months to do that. So I'm really excited about that. So let's see, any other questions? So I have a couple things I'm going to set aside for Robin and for Linda. And I don't think I have anything else. Anybody else have any questions? I promise that once I hit finish and before I take my phone off the cradle, I'm going to hit share. So we'll never do that again. So I guess I'm just going to let everybody go. So don't forget, join us, Mona and I, Saturday morning at 10. We have a product that we're going to share. And hopefully I'll have that really big box of product coming in, and I'll be able to show you some new things that just came in. So thank you guys for joining us. It was fun doing a Wednesday night. So I appreciate you guys showing up. Have a great day. We'll see you Saturday.